Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. And our guest today is a remarkable social entrepreneur, just the winner last month of the Hult Prize, given by the Clinton Global Initiative. Bill Clinton himself presents the award. We're thrilled to have him, Juan Diego Prudot. Juan Diego, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. I'm very pleased to be here.
Well, we're pleased to have you here on the show. First off, tell us a little bit about your experience winning the Hult Prize, your interactions with the Clintons. What was that all like?
Well, it's been like a dream, to be honest. It took a while for it to set in that we actually had won. We had been working on this for 1 year. So getting to that last night and actually being awarded the prize was amazing, incredible.
They gave you $1 million, right?
The way it works, well, actually, the way it works is they'll transfer the fund to us as we reach some milestones, as we reach impact and we reach the children that we're planned to reach.
That's great, though. That's terrific. So, did you meet Bill? Did you meet Hillary? Did you meet Chelsea?
Well, Chelsea, we did not personally meet her. We attended to some of her conference, which were very remarkable. With Bill Clinton, we did get a chance to speak with him a little bit. He did like the idea a lot. And he did mention that he saw applications for our platform, for different types of businesses in informal settlements, which is a very good thing and something that we might consider doing further down the line, expanding our programs not only to early childhood education, but other ways of making impact.
Well, let's zip back to the beginning. What is the problem that you see in the world that you're trying to solve? Tell us about the problem, the issue.
Well, the issue is, Devin, that there are 100 million children under 6 years old that live in conditions of poverty in urban slums and have no access to quality early childhood education. And all of the studies have shown that those 5-6 years of life are crucial to the life of a person. So receiving education during those first years can completely determine if they're going to be productive members of society or if they're going to have way more challenges, or they're going to participate in violence and not going to be able to complete primary school or high school. So there's a need to reduce that gap, to provide early childhood education so that these people are able to create their own outcomes of success. And that's precisely the challenge. How can you provide affordable, quality early education that people in impoverished communities are going to be able to access and enjoy the benefits of?
Okay, so that is a huge problem. What's your solution?
Well, our solution starts considering the reality right now. And right now, what happens in informal settlements is there's always mothers that stay at home and take care of a few kids, and while their parents go out to work, because most of the time, both parents need to work to provide food for the family. So there's a service being provided already in the informal settlements. However, it's a service that does not include any education. It's mostly mothers that keep children in their living room, on their floor, just watch over them while their parents work. So we saw an opportunity here. Since these are small businesses, what if we improve the quality, we improve the scale, meaning that the mother can receive training on how to provide early childhood education. We retrofit the facility so that it can be a safe and clean environment for children. And we expand it so that they can actually take care of more children and engage with them in a positive way. So we saw an opportunity to do this. And then where does the money come from? Where does the money to be able to improve the scale, improve the quality come from? So we came up with the second part of our business model, which is having a web platform that can allow anybody, anywhere, to actually become investors in these schools, which we call playcares. And by becoming investors in playcares, people could be in Canada and actually co-own a playcare running in Honduras. And this person will receive updates on how that playcare is doing, performance in terms of economic performance, the children that are being there, so they can have a very real and direct connection with the lives they're impacting.
That's a brilliant solution. What is the curriculum that you're providing? What are the kids learning in these new preschools?
That's a very good question. So what we're doing is we're working with a NGO that has over 25 years working with a Montessori curriculum. So what they do is they applied a Montessori curriculum and applied it to the context of Latin America, and they train mothers that have, with as low as a sixth grade education, can be trained to provide this curriculum. So that is very important for us because one, this way we can actually train mothers in the communities, which is a very from the ground up solution. And two, by using Montessori, which is a curriculum that teaches children to explore, to be creative, to have self-esteem, to interact with other children, we're preparing them not only on terms of literacy and numbers, but also in finding ways to be creative and work in develop different skills that are going to be useful throughout their whole life.
That really, there is, I understand, great data around this principle that kids need this quality education early on. The notion of creating physical infrastructure at scale is really challenging. And it seems to me that you've overcome, or at least identified a way to overcome one of the challenges, the physical cost, the cost of building that infrastructure, by using what is essentially a crowdfunding model, right, for the investors to have some ownership in the Honduran school. What about the physical construction? That process too needs to be overcome. If you're going to help 10 million kids, you probably need to build 1 million of these in the next 5 years. How do you do that?
Okay, that's a very good question. Well, we work with the largest NGO builder in Latin America, which is called Techo. Techo has built over 100,000 homes in informal settlements. So they have the experience, they have the ground network, they have the community relationships, which is crucial for any of this to be successful. So we partnered with them, and they're going to be able to do the building for us. And this way we can go into the communities, get together with the community leaders, and because they already have a relationship with Techo, it's easier to include this new service, which would be the playcares. Furthermore, besides the playcares at informal settlements, we're looking into building playcares besides certain factories where mothers go to work. This way we can provide the service not only where people live, but also where they work. So that's the way we can really achieve a huge scale.
Yeah. Let's come back to the cost for just a minute. How much do you expect it will cost to build each one of these units?
Each one of these units is around $8,000, but that includes the building, that includes the training, the materials, everything needed to get it up and running.
To tell us a little bit more about the building, what kind of facilities will it be? Is it just a tin roof over, siding? What are we talking about in terms of the physical facility?
Well, in terms of the physical facility, it's going to be very much dependent on the context, or on what does the landscape look like in that particular informal settlement. Our first playcare in El Salvador, in La Comunidad La Cuchilla, the community had an open space, an available land. So they told us we can build it there. But it's not going to be the case in every informal settlement. Most of them are going to be high population density. So what we do in that case is, along with Techo, they have a modular solution in which they can actually build up. And this is a safe facility. This can support earthquakes. This can support rains. So it's a structure made out of fiber cement with walls, and it's very fresh, very solid, easy to put up, And even it's easy, relatively easy for the families to take it down. And that is important in the context of informal settlements because, as you know, most people do not have a land right, do not have the right of the property. So being able to actually take that down and take their assets to be able to relocate them was very important for us at the beginning, and we're able to do that with TED.
That's great. What kind of sanitation do you anticipate? You've got 10 little kids running around your little schoolhouse. You got some sanitation to worry about.
Definitely. And that's very important, having a clean and safe space. What we did is, well, we have a bathroom that was made for the children that attend to our play care. There's also running water. We made sure there was going to be ample supply of water. They use it to learn, but as well as to wash their hands. And they do a lot of activities with water as well. And the great thing about building community assets is that we can integrate more services. We've had NGOs, companies tell us how can we integrate even more services there. We had a company in El Salvador say we can provide solar panels for it so that you can have electricity. We had a TechCrunch Disrupt winner, Liquidity. Actually, we contacted them and they said we're much more than willing to provide a filtration system so that the water can be drinkable immediately. So we see that by having a physical asset, people are more willing to be a part of it, not only in the community, but outside the community. And we make very much a point of our play cares to be very beautiful and to call the attention of people that are walking by. Precisely for that, for the community people to feel proud of what they have, and also for people from the outside to look at it and say, well, what is it? And they look it up and they say, how can I be a part of that?
Yeah. Now, what's your vision for the future? How many of these do you hope to build? How many kids do you hope to reach, and on what time frame?
Well, our vision is to be able to reach 10 million children by 2020. And this, of course, and means that we have to have a very aggressive plan. On our first year, we plan to have 100 of these, and we're going to be targeting Latin America as well as Southeast Asia, because we have very strong networks and support on both sides. And while we're doing that, we're also building our platform. With the platform is going to be crucial for our expansion and our scalability, because that is what's going to allow people to not only be aware, which is a big part of finding a solution, being aware of what the problem is. When I came into the Hult Prize, I didn't know the importance of early child education. I didn't know how many children were out there that needed this type of education. So now we're doing that with our platform, being able to reach even more people. And not only that, but being a part of the solution, and they can actually co-own a play care. So that's going to be crucial to our expansion plan and reaching the 10 million children that we want.
Yeah, that's terrific. I love your vision for the future, and I love that you've got a real genuine model for how you could scale to that point. It really is wonderful. Now,
Thank you.
Juan Diego, you are really becoming, as a Hult Prize winner, a role model to people. People look up to you. They admire you. I admire you. Who do you look up to?
Well, I look up to my father. My father is my role model. He taught me to dream big and to work hard for those dreams. There's a story I always tell my friends is that I got used to sleeping with the sound of a dot matrix printer in the background, you know, that screeching sound it made. And that was because my father, he would work late nights programming a financial software solution for banks. And we're talking about a man that had a second job, had to take care of a family and 3 kids, had no university degree, but he was there every night coding, creating something with his hands. So that really helped instill in me that tenacity that you can achieve anything if you put your mind and heart into it.
That really is an inspiring story, and I appreciate you sharing that. Now, you really could be doing anything, Juan Diego. You and your dad built a very successful company. You had all the options and opportunities in the world. Why are you worried about children living in slums?
That's a very good question. One of the reasons I've enjoyed working for my own company back in Honduras is because I was able to see we were providing jobs, even though we started out as a very small company. We were providing jobs for people, and I could see their lives improving. So my vision was always, I'm going to go out, get an MBA degree, come back, and make this bigger, so that we can actually provide better jobs for more people and make this a very large corporation. But then I stumbled upon the Hult Prize, and I found that actually I can find there's a closer way in it. I can make an impact, and a very huge impact, when I start learning about early child education and how it can really help children have productive lives, keep them out of violence. And as you know, Honduras is a country that is crippled by a lot of poverty and violence. So really putting my efforts into something as meaningful as this early child education, I can actually see it helping create a generation of children that can change the country and change the world. So that's a beautiful and very meaningful thing that I'm happy to be a part of. And if you think about it, I'm actually living the dream of an MBA, because an MBA, they usually get their degree, work for a company, and then when they retire, 50, 60 years old, they dedicate their life to doing good. But in my case, I can make a living out of doing good. So that's a great thing. I don't have to wait until I retire. I can do that today.
Oh, that's great. Well, one last thing I want to ask you for, Juan Diego, is what I call an impact hack, right? You're successful, clearly successful. There must be a habit, a trick, a pattern, something you do regularly, maybe every day, maybe all the time, you think makes a difference in your ability to have impact. What is it?
Okay, impact hack. I would say I actually try, and this is true, I try to get people to tell me something is impossible. Because if I want to innovate in the social entrepreneurship space, or any space for that matter, people have to see it as it's impossible. Otherwise, it's probably already done. If it's immediately clear to people that it's possible, that there's a pathway to do it, it means it is an existing paradigm. It means somebody else is doing it already. So actually actively look for people to tell me it's impossible. That can give me a good indication that I'm innovating, that I'm doing something different. And also, instead of finding that discouraging, I understand that people are operating under their current paradigms. And I find ways to work around it. And I also work within myself to communicate my idea better. So really try to refine it. And after a while, that impossible can turn into, it sounds a bit crazy, but it could be possible. So getting that transition, it really means not getting discouraged and don't finding those impossible as a wall you can't get through. There's always a way around it.
I think it's inspiring to see impossible as an opportunity. That is so inspiring. I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think that really is instructive to me and to everyone who's listening and watching. So thank you very much. Well, Juan Diego, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. This has just been a great discussion. We're excited about your big victory of the Hult Prize. We're excited about the great work you're doing. Before you go, tell people how they can learn more. I know that we just covered the tip of the iceberg. People are going to know more. People are going to want to invest in PlayCares. Tell us how people find out more and are able to actually join you.
Well, the best way to do it is to visit playcares.com. There they can find information about the upcoming projects, contact us, and just from there they can link to our social media to make sure to get updates on whatever we are doing.
Fantastic.
So, and I also want to take a chance to thank you, Devin, for this opportunity. It's been a great chat, and I hope you decide to co-own a PlayCare as well.
I would love to. Thank you very much for taking the time again, and we wish you every success in the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
All righty, let's do some good.